hope to do today is set forth an agenda for this legislative session that will continue to make an effort to protect women and children. Anything we do in Mississippi is subject to the mercy of the courts, and so, we continue on a statewide basis to push for legislation to protect children. We believe that abortion hurts women, so today we're here to talk about the legislation, but it's also the anniversary of Roe v. Wade, and we believe Mississippi can be instrumental in leading the nation back to life. And the way we do that is to continue to talk about abortion and to continue to educate and win hearts and minds. Ultimately, even though my job here, and I do volunteer my time, is to lobby for legislation to restrict abortion, my ultimate goal is to win hearts and minds, because we know that abortion will only end when America's heart is changed and we regard the unborn as equals with a woman. We talk about women's rights, but there's a right. Unborn children have a right, and unborn women have rights. And part of that, we believe, is the right to life. So ultimately, though, we want to encourage women to choose life. We believe that women don't regret their decision to choose life. They often regret their decision to abort.
The admitting privileges legislation last year, where is that right now? It's still in the court system, or?
Yes, and we're at the mercy of the courts on the admitting privileges legislation that we passed, the law that we passed last session. We do, however, we are optimistic that the courts will uphold this. In 1986, the first year I lobbied, we lobbied for a parental consent law in Mississippi, and it was the first law that was passed after Roe v. Wade. After the passage of that law, we were tied up in the courts for 7 years. So today, one thing that we're saying is we're not going to hold our breath and wait for the courts to uphold HB 1390. We're going to continue to press in for further restrictions, further regulations, and try to protect as many women and children from abortion as we can.
I know the governor was concerned about the health insurance exchange program and then obviously the Affordable Care Act. How does that impact the abortion, and how does that impact your movement?
Well, we know that the American public is now a majority pro-life, but they're a vast majority unwilling to pay for abortion. And I think that that's been going on far too long through Title X funds to Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers. And we're ready for that to stop. If anything we can do in Mississippi to restrict our dollars from going to pay for an abortion, we'd have overwhelming support here and also across the nation. The legislation that we're promoting this year is a follow-up from last year, and that is to restrict abortion drugs. We know that right now, in an affidavit lawsuit with Dr. Booker, a former abortionist at the current clinic, he accused the clinic of not following FDA protocol in respect to prescribing the abortion drug RU486. So one of the things that we're doing is making sure in this particular law that we protect women's health and regulate abortion drugs and the prescribing of them, how they're prescribed. And again, this law is taken right out of the FDA standards for how the drugs should be used. So we think that it should be easy to pass. However, I've been lobbying for a long time, and it's never easy to pass pro-life legislation. We have a body that claims to be very pro-life, but we're asking our legislature and our pro-life senators and representatives to lead on the issue. We're asking the Republican women, the pro-life women, to lead on our legislation. We also still like the heartbeat bill. We think that in most cases, the way you check to see if someone's alive is to check their heartbeat. So we believe that if you can find a heartbeat on an unborn child, that should be reason enough to protect that life. HB 6 is a heartbeat bill, and then we also have the abortion drug regulations, and we're calling that the Women's Health Defense Act. And we believe it will help protect women. There have been women that have died from the prescription of RU486, and it's important that this clinic follow the FDA protocol. I think that, for the most part, the American public is much more educated that pro-choice is pro-abortion. So they no longer necessarily want to be called pro-choice, which I think is a a step in the right direction, because as long as we continue to think abortion is wrong, but yet we also want to make it a right, it's confusing to women, and we need to make sure that we call right right and wrong wrong. And when women believe abortion is wrong, that encourages them to choose life. And we don't want to hurt women who've had abortions. We want to see them healed and restored, but we have to continue to try to defend the mother